Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of the Glowy Glowy podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and joining me today is Chris Hanbush. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, not too bad, Carl. Not too bad.
Good, mate. Good. Doing good.
Okay, what we're going to do today is a World Cup quiz that's Man United themed. So this will be interesting. This is something different, something we've never done before. So I'm going to ask the guys 10 questions, and feel free to join in the chat. Some of them are going to be easy, some of them are going to be really hard. Let's see how many you can get. So please don't shout out the answer about 30 seconds, and then I'll prompt you, and then we'll take it from there. So first question. This should be easy. Come on, guys, you have to get this one. So in the 1966 World Cup, in the semi-final between England and Portugal, which England a Man United player was credited with marking Eusebio out of the game? Who was it? I don't shout out the answer. I give you about 30 seconds. If anyone joining us live has an idea, please let us know.
That gives me time to Google. Happy days.
Have you? No, you're not allowed to do that. That's against the rules.
Oh no! Sorry.
So guys, who do you think it is? First of all, Brush, who do you think it is?
Jack Charlton.
Nope. Chris, over to you then. What's your answer?
Was it Nobby Styles?
It was Chris. Absolutely. You've got 1-0 to Chris there.
All day.
Well done. Good knowledge there, Chris. You surprised us all there. You're letting us think that you knew very little about the World Cups in Man United, but you're off to a flyer.
Sometimes you get a lucky guess, guys. Sometimes you get a lucky guess.
Okay, I'll come to you first the next time then, Chris. Right, second question. In the 1986 World Cup, in a group stage match between Northern Ireland and Algeria, it was a one each draw. Which Manchester United player scored in this game? So I'll give you time to think of the answer. So I'll just repeat that question. So in 1986, there was a one each draw between Northern Ireland and Algeria. A Manchester United player scored in that game. Who was it? Okay, Chris. Who was it?
I've got three in my mind, and I don't know which it could be. I'm gonna take a punt and say Norman Whiteside.
It was Chris. Absolutely. That's 2 out of 2.
There we go.
So, Brush, would you have got that answer?
Nah, probably not. I wouldn't have got that. Only one. I was thinking 80s Irish. The only one that came to mind was McGrath. But I think was he Republic of Ireland? Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Republic,
yeah.
In fairness, Brush was at a slight disadvantage there. I have to say, not being from Northern Ireland, I have to say that. Definitely was.
Okay. So Chris has got 2 out of 2. Well done, Chris. So Brush, I want to see you get on the board. This one is going to be very tricky. If either you two get this one, I'll be very impressed.
The last two were the easy ones, Kyle. Yeah. Right, okay.
Okay. In a match between the Republic of Ireland and Italy in USA in '94, there was a Manchester United player who was an unused substitute on the bench. No, he's a former Manchester United player, actually. He was wearing the number 4 jersey, and he was an unused sub in a one-each draw between Ireland and Italy in USA in '94. Now, he used to play for United prior to '94, but not at this time. So, who do you think it was? I can get, if you're struggling, I'll give you a clue.
Yeah, go on. I'll have a clue.
He was the first ever player to be sent off in an FA Cup final. That not happen, no?
Is it? Yeah. Can I ask one more for a clue? He was on the Republic of Ireland bench or on the Italy bench?
The Ireland bench.
On the Ireland bench.
Okay.
We're number 4, and he was sent off in the 1985 FA Cup final, making him the first player to receive red. United went on to win that game in extra time with a Norman Whiteside goal. But who was the player who was sent off in that game and also didn't get used in that Ireland-Italy game in '94.
Dennis Irwin?
No, he would have been a United player at that time. This
Yeah.
player had left United by
Oh, had
1994.
left by 04,
Yeah.
by 94.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Dennis Irwin, I think, started the game, as did Roy Keane. But who was the former United player on the bench?
Yeah, I imagine he would have been a starter. It was the fact that you said number 4, Shay. I was like,
He would have been like a veteran at this point in time.
I might have an idea, but could be wrong.
No clues then, guys? No?
I wasn't sure who you were going to. The only person I can think of is the man that Brush already said, Paul McGrath.
No. Yeah, good effort, but that's not the answer to the question. So, Bruce, I'll give you one last chance. Any guesses?
no, I can't think of it, mate.
If Nigel was on this podcast, he'd have got it straight away because he's a player that he talks about a bit. Kevin Moran, also a former Gaelic footballer.
Yeah, nah. I don't think I would have got that.
First man we sent off in the FA Cup final. Yeah, so
remember
that if you're ever on a quiz show.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have got that.
No, me neither.
Okay. So, Chris, you've got none. Come on, you're definitely going to get on the board here, Chris, Brush, for sure. Both of you will get this question right. In the 1998 World Cup, which Manchester United player scored a free kick against Colombia? Now, don't shout out the answer. We'll give it a wee bit of time.
1998 World Cup.
He scored a free kick against Colombia.
Yes, Golden Balls himself, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I'll accept that answer.
Had to be.
David Beckham.
Had to be.
Yeah.
Would that have been the answer you would have given, Chris?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
I would say so. Yeah. So 3-3 you've got then, Chris, and 1 for Brish. Okay, on to question 5. How many? Oh no, we'll come to that later. In the 2014 World Cup, Uruguay beat England 2-1. Luis Suarez scoring twice for Uruguay. Which Manchester United player scored for England in that game?
Wayne Rooney.
Well
Correct.
done.
Would that have been the answer you would have given, Chris?
It wouldn't have been my answer, no. So I think Brush has got me on that one. Wouldn't have been my answer, no.
So just out of interest, who would you have chosen then?
Yeah, my knowledge of recent is pretty poor. 2014.
I remember that one because England went into it with no hope whatsoever, and we still underperformed. We finished bottom in the group.
I think I better went schools here. Somebody maybe. I think I better went schools here. Somebody. Well, actually, I thought Rooney. Obviously, Rooney would have been. Yeah, that would have been the natural. But yeah, you got to say Brushes England. Memory of England matches probably much better than mine.
Yeah, you got a nice Northern Ireland question earlier, and Bruce got the England question there, so even to stuff out a wee bit. Okay. So Bruce got that one, yeah. He's got 2 now, so about 3-2 then. So this should be handy enough question. Which future Manchester United player won the World Cup in 2002? Chris, who was it?
Oh God!
2002, he was a World Cup winner, but in the future, he would sign for Manchester United.
Oh, I know this one. It went terribly at United. Is it Cleberson?
There's a clue. It didn't go very well.
Yeah.
That could be anybody.
It's Cleberson, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Well done.
3 in a row, Brush.
Would
you have got that one, Chris?
That gives me horrible flashbacks to that whole Jemba David Bellion era.
Oh my God! There were. I think there were good times in general, Brush, but not for particular players.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean there was the FA Cup in '04, which was nice, but yeah, there was a
Yeah,
lot of nonsense as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think the problem I have with that one, Kyle, is trying to remember who won the World Cup in 2002. That's a long time ago for me. It's a long time. That's 20 years ago. It's a long time ago for me to remember.
Yes, it was Brazil, and it was the last time that Brazil won the competition. Of course, that might change by the 18th of
I think
December.
everyone remembers
But
that
yes,
one though because Ronaldo had that silly haircut.
I do. Yeah, I do remember that. In fairness, I do remember
yeah, he
Yeah,
that.
did.
Yeah, oh my word. Yeah, was that the final against France? Or was
Germany
that
that
night?
one.
That was Germany. Was 98 the
Yes, it
final
was. Yeah.
against France where he didn't? He was meant
Oh
to
no,
start,
Germany.
but he
Yes.
didn't
Yeah.
actually start. He
Yeah,
was ill or something. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. '98 was the one where something happened to him.
That's right.
Um,
That's
he
right.
he collapsed or something.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
Swallowed his
It
tongue or
was a bad.
something in '98.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah. I think he had
He
some
was. It was
kind of
announced.
nervous
I remember
breakdown.
Gary
I think
Lineker
it was.
saying he's not going to start.
that's what I thought it was. Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
a nervous breakdown. I thought or something.
yeah.
He went on to be a decent player, though, didn't
I remember Gary Lineker announcing that he wasn't starting, and then
Mm.
they heard that he was starting about 10 minutes later. It was very odd.
he?
But then in 2002, it was like redemption. It was they lost that final against France in 2002. They beat Germany 2-0. I
Mm.
think one of his goals, if I remember, was uh, Oliver Kahn spilled it out, and then Ronaldo kind of topped in the rebound. It might have been the second one. Yeah, it was that was kind of redemption for what happened in '98. And yeah, he did have that stupid fringe haircut. He kind of
Yeah, there was
bald all
actually a
over,
reason behind
fringe
it,
on
which I thought was really cool.
I didn't
So
know this.
he did it on purpose because he wanted the attention to be taken away from his injuries and what happened in '98.
Yeah, I
So,
didn't know that. Very
yeah,
interesting.
so it's quite clever there because the
Yeah, it is
papers did
clever. I didn't know that.
they focused on the haircut
Yeah, I didn't
instead
know
of
that. It's
asking
very
him.
good. Yeah.
And then lots of young people around the world can copy that haircut. I remember all these people
Yeah, I couldn't
walking
believe
around.
that.
I think my brother had it at one point. It was absolutely awful. It was awful.
It just shows the influence that superstar football on young people, and that they would copy such haircuts.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you got 3 each so far out of the 6 questions. So this is going to be pure guesswork, I imagine. This is kind of a 2-part question. So, how many Man United players have won the World Cup, and how many
Oh
United
wow,
players have won the World Cup while they were United players?
wow.
So obviously the number of United players.
That's
Ooh.
mental.
So I'm not expecting you to know
Tough
this
one.
answer, but just throw us out a guess. So first of all, how many players have won the World Cup while they were at United? Now this is a guess. No, a clue is that it's a low number. So just think of like 1966, obviously, and 2002 and so on. So how many? Yeah, no, 2002 actually. No, Cleberson, sorry, was not United at that point. But yeah, 1966
Mm.
is helpful. So how many United players have won the World Cup while they were at the club? It's not too many now. It's a very low number. So Chris,
Mm.
how many would you say?
There's 2 that I know of, and I don't know. I'm thinking there might be more that I just can't think, but I'll go for 2. I'm thinking it's maybe more, but I know of 2.
Mm.
Brish,
I'm gonna
what's your answer?
I'm gonna go for 3.
Close. The answer is 4. 4
Oh.
United players.
Okay.
Okay, who were the 4?
Shall I have a go?
Go for it. Yeah.
So Styles, the Charltons, and Pogba.
I forgot about the chart. Bobby would have been there.
I don't
think Jack wasn't there.
I don't think Jack Charlton played for Man United now.
No,
I think he played for Leeds.
Okay.
So yes, you're right about
Bobby. Forgot about Bobby.
You're right about Bobby
Bobby
Charlton,
Styles,
Nobby Styles,
and
and
Pogba.
John Connolly in 1966 for England,
Okay.
and Paul Pogba. Yeah.
2018.
So had the right teams in the games. I got the players wrong. I forgot Bobby Charlton was there, and Conley would have escaped me definitely. There we go. Good question, Kyle. I like that.
Okay, so the second part of that question is how many players have won the World Cup who have also represented Manchester United at some point in their career? So obviously that's a higher number.
Yeah.
How many would you say it is? So I'll give you a bit of time to think.
So we know about Kleberson. Patrice Evra would have been part of one of the French teams.
Yeah,
maybe.
he probably was. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know actually. When was the last time France won? France.
2018, France won.
Oh, 2018. Yeah, no, he would have been too old then. Don't think Evra would have been there then. And then he would have been too young.
No.
He would have been too young in '98. Yeah.
I think it's in the. I think it might be in the teens. We're very close. I think I got it. Didn't have 9 or 10 in my head at the minute. Might have been more. Ooh.
I don't know. I don't think there's too many. I don't think there's too many more.
Go for.
So what's your answer then, Brush?
Say 10, Kyle. Oh, sorry.
So Chris's answer is 10. What's your answer, Brush?
I'll go 5. Yeah.
5.
Off top, I can't think of too
Chris
many.
was closer. Chris was closer. It is 11. 11
Wow.
Man United players who won the World Cup.
Very close. Very close. Very close.
That's super unlucky. Who are the players and what nationality?
Okay. Bobby Charlton, Nobby Styles, John Connolly, Fabian Barthez, Lorna Blanc, Cleverson,
of course.
Yeah, Gerard Piqué, Juan Mata, Victor Valdez, Bastian Schweinsteiger, and Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've heard the names, you're like, yes, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
I know. I forgot about Spain. I forgot about Spain winning it. That's what it was. I forgot about Spain winning it. I must have had 8 or 9. Yeah, I forgot about Spain winning it. Yeah.
11 is still a very low number for a club of United size. For players who've won the World Cup, that's only one team like who've won the World Cup.
Yeah, true.
We were quite lucky because there was multiple people from each of those teams, wasn't there? France '98 had France '98 had Barthez and Blanc. That disgustingly good Spanish team. I think Valdez probably would have slipped a lot of our minds because he was only there for a short while.
You're right. I didn't play much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
I think he played once for us.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't remember seeing him many times. That's true.
Yeah.
Seen him on the bench plenty, but that was about it.
Yeah, I think he was kind of he played in the League Cup, and he might have played in like a 38th game of the season in the Premier League.
I think he literally made one appearance for us, and then he went to Middlesbrough. It was a proper strange one.
He felt like with Van Gaal. Yeah.
Strange one, yeah.
Van Gaal brought him because he knew him from Barcelona, and then they had some kind of dispute behind the scenes, and I can't remember what it was about now, and Van Gaal got rid of him and placed him with Sergio Romero, and he ended up being at the club for about 5 or 6 years.
Probably one of the best backup goalkeepers ever.
No, he's brilliant, wasn't he? He very rarely made a mistake. Yeah, I loved him. Really, really good backup goalkeeper. Excuse me.
Yeah, I've heard that Romero would actually love to come back if we give him the opportunity, but I don't really see it happening.
The way he left, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the best of terms. His missus was
his gripe was probably with Solskjaer. His gripe was with Solskjaer, I think, and he's not there anymore. So, and obviously Ed Woodward's not there anymore either. So it's almost kind of a different setup altogether. So, but I think he loved he loved his time on the pitch, and he loved the fans, and also he's a free agent, I think, or at least he was back in August, and he said that he would consider coming back if given the opportunity. But we can't be too sentimental. We have to move on now and bring in if we're going to replace De Gea, it has to be with a young goalkeeper. And Romero, maybe he could come back and be a backup, but because Dubravka is only on loan, and Tom Heaton, Ten Hag doesn't seem to fancy him. It was obvious who number 2 was when we had that League Cup game against Villa, and Dubravka played and Heaton didn't. So that's a message to Heaton that he's very much third choice.
Yeah, but he's taken on the Lee Grant role now, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's good work if you can get it.
I'm not sure what Lee Grant was actually doing. Yeah, I think Lee Grant might have been watching the kits in his what I called
Yeah, he was just
something.
cheering the rest of the lads on.
I think he might have been. Yeah, that's what he did.
I think Lee Grant would probably be happier with that role than what Tom Heaton was. I think he was promised the number 2 role by Solskjaer. I think
he's a good keeper, Tom Heaton.
Oh yeah, he definitely is. Yeah, and he's another one of those keepers that when he played against us, he had like 10 out of 10
had an absolute masterclass. Yeah, funny enough, same with Lee Grant.
It's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah,
people raise their game against United all the time, don't they?
Yeah, the number one culprit for that was Brad Friedel, from my memory. And no matter who he was playing for, he was like a goal-saving machine.
I remember
that. He was brilliant, Brad. I think he had the record as well at one point for the most consecutive games started.
I really didn't know that. It's interesting, didn't know that. Right?
Yeah, for a goalkeeper, there was a period at Blackburn where he just didn't miss any games.
I didn't know that. It's interesting. Yeah, he was solid. He was a good, great keeper. Great keeper.
Yeah,
good shot stopper.
He's obviously not injury prone then. So moving on to question number 8, and this might be a bit difficult. So in the 1990 World Cup, there was one United player in the Scotland squad. Who was it?
Gordon Strachan.
No, it wasn't. One current United player in the Scotland squad in 1990. It wasn't Gordon Strachan.
Current United player? What age is he now?
That's a good question. No, I mean current as in he was current in 1990.
I just want to see how long it would take to tag on to that. I'm just kidding.
He was he played for United at the time of the World Cup.
Scotland, 1990.
Any ideas?
Brian McClure?
No.
That would have been my second guess. Yeah.
Give you a clue. He was a goalkeeper. He was.
Yeah. See it.
I don't think I'm gonna get that. I don't think I'll get that. 1990 Scottish goalkeeper, Man United. I don't think I get that.
Yeah, for long as my memory goes, it was always Pete. It was always Big Pete.
Same. Shows at what age we are exactly. Well, the guy's younger than us. In fairness, it's just his knowledge is better. So 1990, Schmeichel, Les Seeley. Around that time, I can't think who Scottish would have been just before that. Can't think.
The only Scotsman I remember in goal for us was Andy Gorham. R.I.P.
Andy Gorham. That's right. Andy Gorham. Yeah. Gorham. Yeah. I can't think of anybody else either.
Yeah. Andy Gorham was part of that squad, but he wasn't a United player at the time.
No. He was in the early 2000s. We had him on loan for a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I can't think. Any other clues, Kyle? Any clues?
Now, he was the regular goalkeeper when Fergie took over, and I think he was the regular goalkeeper throughout the 80s for United. But he was Scotland's number 1 in that World Cup.
You got me.
I'm surprised that Brian McClure and Gordon Strachan were not in that squad. They don't think they were in the squad at all for that World Cup.
That is interesting.
So you don't think you're going to get it then, guys? No?
Nah, not going to get this one.
No, don't think so. Does that misery?
Jim Leighton.
Yeah, wouldn't have got that.
Yeah.
Right. Famously, Fergie. I can't remember when he was. Right, but in the 1990 World Cup in the FA finals, there was the first match against Palace, which was 3 each, and then United won the second one 1-0, which apparently saved Fergie's job. Fergie famously changed the goalkeeper for the second one. Was one of them Jim Leighton? think.
Do you know when you
Can you
said
name the
Jim
two
Leighton,
goalkeepers?
I remember that story. I have a feeling he might have dropped Leighton for that game. Was it Les Sealy came in?
Yeah, because I have a feeling that
Story rings a
whoever he
bell.
dropped, um, whoever he dropped completely fell out with Fergie and never talked to him
That's
again,
right.
and still has never
I think
spoken
that
to him.
might have been. I think that might have been Leighton. That when you said Jim Leighton, I thought, that story rings a bell. Check that out. It might be Jim Leighton and Les Sealy might have been who came in.
Yeah, let's say is definitely one of the goalkeepers from that era. I'll have a look and see who was dropped and who started the second game. It might have been them too.
Story definitely rings a
See.
bell.
But well, yeah. So it was 3 each in the first game. It was a hell of a final. I think Ian Wright was playing for Palace at the time. Even Alan Pardew, I think, might have been playing for Palace in those games. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, Jim Leighton started the first match, the 3-each draw. The second match, yeah, Les Sealy started the second match. Yeah. So yeah, Jim Leighton, who was a Scottish goalkeeper, and Fergie dropped him for the replay, and they never spoke again. Jim Leighton absolutely detests him, and that's one of those infamous stories.
That's pretty rough.
Well, we've
pretty
seen
rough.
We've seen Fergie fall out with several players down the years after that as well. He wasn't the last one, but that was quite a severe fall out there. Yeah.
Unless Sealy, interestingly, never really made it as a number one for us either. I think he was Schmeichel's backup for a while. He never really.
It wasn't. It was 1991 that Schmeichel was signed, so he wasn't number one for very long. I suppose if he wasn't number one in the first place, then he didn't really believe in him that much. So he signed a superstar goalkeeper not long after that. So bonus question: who scored for United in the replay with the 1-0 that sealed Fergie's job?
Mark Robbins.
Who was that player?
Lee Martin.
Mark Robbins.
Absolutely, that was it. Yeah, Lee Martin.
Lee Martin. Yeah, good work.
Yeah, and
that's one of those that comes in handy from watching all the documentaries. The early years of Fergie and how close he came to getting sacked. They always talk about.
God, imagine we had to sack them, flip.
Yeah, and in the first game for Palace, O'Reilly scored and Ian Wright scored twice. And for United, Brian Robson on a double from Mark Hughes. Yeah, so it was quite an eventful FA Cup final that year. That might have been the last of the replays, if I remember correctly. I don't think they had any more FA Cup final replays after that. After that, it had to be settled on the day. But anyway, coming back. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was just going to say the first one I remember properly was '94 when we battered Chelsea.
4-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the following year was the loss to Everton.
Let's not talk about that.
I think you must be about the same age as me, Brush. Those are my early memories too. Yeah, those are my early memories as well. Good times.
Okay. In the 2018 World Cup, England beat Panama 6-1. One of those goals came from a Manchester United player who was a United player at the time. Who was it?
In 2018?
Yeah. He scored a goal against Panama in a 6-1 victory for England. Who was that United player?
So he's not
he doesn't play for United. He doesn't play for United anymore, but he did in 2018.
Was it Jesse Lingard?
It was indeed.
Well, hey.
Jesse. Was that the answer you would have went for, Brush?
No, initially I was thinking Shaw, and then you said he's not at United anymore.
Yeah, I'm thinking Rashford until you said not United anymore, and I thought, right, it's not him now. Yeah, I would have said Rashford otherwise.
I might be wrong, but I think Shaw's first England goal was in the Euro final last year.
Yeah, I think it was against Italy. Yeah.
So, final question. Bit of a difficult one now. You just, as soon as I even mentioned the year of the World Cup, you're going to be like,
Curtis, no. they've all been difficult enough, Kyle. There's been no real easy ones here. I'm still not sure which ones you thought were the easy ones, to be honest.
Well, I thought the David Beckham one would have been easy. I thought the Wayne Rooney one would have been easy, and the Cleberson one would have been easy. But
other ones I didn't get.
Yeah. So in 1958, Wales qualified for the World Cup, and of course, he didn't qualify again until this year. There was a Man United player in that Wales squad. Who was it?
Jesus.
Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. But I do have a recollection from I read a book about History United a year or so ago, and I remember somebody Welsh from back then. But can I think who it was? Oh, that is a very good question.
Yeah, at that time, in that era, pretty much all of the United players would have been English, Irish, Scottish, or Welsh.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
any ideas? Let me see. It's a name that you would hear quite a lot being mentioned. Whenever there's discussions about the history of football. I don't know that much about the player. I kind of researched these questions, but it is a name that is familiar to me.
Does it still get talked about in United terms? Is he like a legend at
So
United?
he was.
Or?
So if it. He was born in 1932 and he died in 2001. He also played for Swansea and Newport County. Only had 4 caps for Wales. Enough. Yeah. So let me see. Yeah.
Was he a goal scorer? Was he a striker?
He was an inside forward. Yeah.
I feel like there's somebody on the tip of my tongue. I just can't put my finger on it.
He was playing for United at the time. He was playing for United at the time of the Munich disaster on 6th of February 1958, but he did not travel with the team due to ill health. So he got lucky there. He remained at the club for 1 year after the tragedy and played in the 1958 FA Cup final, collecting the runners-up medal as United were defeated by Bolton Wanderers.
Does he have a typically Welsh name or a noticeably Welsh name or?
Not really. Not really. I mean, that name could pass for any of the home nations. Any ideas, Bresh? No?
No clue on this one, unless you made this like a multiple choice, but even then, I'd probably be guessing.
Yeah. He wore the number 19 for Wales in that tournament, if that helps.
Number 19.
Why didn't you say so, Kyle?
Sure, I know now.
I'll tell you what, when you said 19, the only 19 that sticks in my head is Dwight York.
No, I have no idea. No idea.
Colin Webster. That's the
Never
name.
got it.
See, even the name doesn't ring a bell.
Not really. No, not really. Nah, wouldn't have got it.
So, yeah. So I think he's the guy that they always mention that he didn't travel to Belgrade with the United team in 1958. He avoided the plane crash because of ill health. So
listen, I can't imagine what he must have went through psychologically.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the aftermath of that, because to not see your friends again, and to know that you should have been there and you weren't. I don't know. Maybe he suffered from like survivor's guilt and that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that survivor's guilt. It's quite common.
Yeah. Horrible. Because I remember a couple of years ago there was the Brazilian team, Chapecoense. Their flight crashed, and a large number of their squad perished.
Yes.
For the survivors, I can't imagine what they're going through.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was obviously particularly rough. Yeah. And funny, I remember hearing that. It didn't remind me of the Munich disaster because obviously I wasn't alive at the time. But I remember thinking this must be what it felt like around the time of the Munich disaster.
Exactly.
That shock, that level of shock, must have been the same. An entire team almost, dying in one go. Pretty awful stuff.
That's the thing, though, that makes United so special as well. The fact that they went through something like that, and within 10 years, won the European Cup.
I know, it's pretty incredible. It's
crazy to think about.
Completely.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. And United United manager Sir Matt Busby had basically had to rebuild the whole team, and he did so and managed to win the league and the European Cup again after all that. So that was an unbelievable achievement.
Incredible. No, it really was incredible. And I think it just showed, the strength of the people around the club, and the levels of support that, they kind of yeah. And in fairness, I think you maybe know more about this than me, Brush, but I think that, in general, the English public, and I think in general, people in football really rallied around Man United, and actually Real Madrid. I remember actually really supported them too, from memory, from what I've read. Should have seen up from memory. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine the emotion.
Did Real Madrid loan Di Stefano to United at that period? Or because I remember Real Madrid apparently loaned United players, or did they offer to loan players or something?
I think we would have known about if Di Stefano was there.
I was going to say, I don't think he was. Yeah, you would have known. I do remember reading that what they did. I think for a period when Man United were out of Europe because of the team was decimated, that Real Madrid every year used to play a friendly or two against them to give them the kind of experience of playing at the top level of European football, to keep them, to kind of give them almost like a, to keep them at that standard until they were able to actually get back into the competition. So I think they did things like that and stuff. I think they did help out quite a lot.
Probably would have helped out with revenue and stuff as well.
I think they might have done. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. It would have been. Yeah, exactly. It would have been a big money spinner to come to the games. Yeah, I think Real Madrid. Funny, you think about United fans think about Real Madrid now. I don't know about you guys. Don't know how fondly I would see Real Madrid at the minute, but over the years,
hate him.
Well, I'm a bit more diplomatic than you. Exactly.
It's just because it's because we've it just feels like we're their feeder club. Yeah, when the amount of United players that have gone over there. Oh.
I know. I agree. But it just shows back in the day, the two teams were good. The two clubs were pretty tight, it seems, which is fair enough.
Yeah, Real Madrid did make the offer to United to loan Di Stefano. That enough, but for some reason United declined. So just like you said, if Di Stefano played for United, we would have remembered that. But I do remember
think that would escape people's notice.
Was the offer?
They probably would have had a statue outside.
Even if he'd only played a couple of games, just put a statue and said, "Come on, it's Di Stefano."
Yeah, I mean, we still speak fondly about Henrik Larsson, and he was there for about 3 months.
I know, you're right. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, you're 100% right. Absolutely. Yeah. We're reasonably easily pleased. But
because I remember they had to apply for a special exception to get him a Premier League winners medal.
Oh my word! Yeah,
because he didn't qualify because he didn't play enough nor spend enough time there.
That's right. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. Tell you what, you have a few games for Man United, and you could be a legend forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just, whenever you were mentioning that, I immediately thought of Larsson as well. But that could have been a question. Which United player or former United player represented Trinidad and Tobago at the 2006 World Cup? I could have asked questions like that, but it'd be too easy.
Yeah, it would be too easy.
Yeah, it'd been obvious. Yeah.
It's hard to find the balance between really easy questions and really difficult questions.
No, I think you did quite well there, Carl. And I quite like, the questions we don't get. I actually like learning about them, so it's interesting.
Same, absolutely. No, they're really good ones. I like them. You did a good job, Ken. You did a good job.
Yeah. So, Chris, you kind of started off well, and then you ended badly, and Bruce kind of finished well.
Super sub.
Only gonna superstar himself.
Yeah, just give me 20 minutes at the end.
Yes, there actually isn't that. When I heard that stat about Rashford, he scored 3 goals at the World Cup now as a United player, and then seeing the list of Man United players who scored at the World Cup, it's not that many. really not that many. I mean,
That's surprising.
um,
Very surprising.
I think Bobby Charlton is the most with 4. Rashford be targeting that record. And I think does Beckham have 2 or something? And or maybe that list is players who were at United at the time of the World Cup. Because surely there's more than that. I mean, even Ronaldo, for example, has scored his countless amount of goals at the
Oh
World
yeah,
Cups.
it's bound to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that is what it is. I think it's while they were at United. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
yeah. So I obviously had a guest on last week talking about the Ronaldo situation, and now he's left the club. So I want to quickly get your thoughts on this, guys. So, Brush, are you relieved that it's all over and ended amicably
Uh,
after the interview?
amicably.
Well, somewhat. I mean, it could
Yeah,
have been
I
a
mean,
long, it could have been a long drawn out legal process. That's what I mean. But it
yeah,
got
yeah.
it
I
done.
mean, listen, it was inevitable that it was going to end like this. It's a very sour note to end on. He's still a club legend for me. I just don't like the way it ended, though. And I think it could have been solved a lot better. I think it comes down to a lack of communication, really. We don't know what was promised to Ronaldo in the summer. We don't know what was promised to Ten Hag in the summer. And ultimately, like with everything with this club, I blame the higher ups and their lack of organisation uh, in how we ended up here. But yeah, ultimately, I think it's the right thing. Yeah, I wish him the luck. I wish him all the luck for the rest of his career, and hopefully we can move on now and
Yeah, it was
rebuild.
what I mean, it was done really quickly and without much of a fuss. Within days of the interview, they terminated his contract, and he didn't accept any further wages. He didn't want to pay off, and he
Yeah,
just
I
signed
think
away.
that's the thing as well. The fact that he was willing to walk away without any sort of compensation or anything, I think it shows that it's not just about the money for him.
Yeah, he just wants to play, and
Yeah,
he doesn't fit into what
yeah.
the
I
Ten Hag
firmly stood
plans.
with the manager though. I think you can't speak out about current employers the way he did and go
No,
against
you
the club.
can't.
And when
Yeah,
you're a
that was
paid employee,
inexcusable.
and when you're a paid employee as well, like regardless of how you feel, you can't refuse to come on.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%. Yeah, he said agreed with what he was saying about the Glazers, but he wasn't saying that for the fans. He was doing that for his own selfish reasons. But you can't say what he said about Ten Hag, and you can't refuse to come
Yeah,
on as a player.
No,
But this was always going to happen with Ronaldo. Um, he's got such a big ego that when he got towards the end of his career and he wasn't going to be a regular starter anymore, he was going to kick up a stink. I think that we could have predicted this 10 years ago that he was going to be like this.
yeah. That part of it I found a bit sad actually. The fact that I think when he retires, he's gonna really struggle. Like you can tell by
I
the way he
agree.
speaks
Yeah,
that he can't let it go. Like this has been his life for so long that he's gonna really struggle with him. I would
exactly.
have liked him to grow old gracefully, maybe like Zlatan, because he's still highly influential, but accepts the fact that he's not gonna play week in week out. But I
Yeah,
don't think that's the case with Ronnie.
no, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think if he hadn't have said so much about the manager, I think
Mm,
I could have accepted most of the rest of what he said. Even in complaining about young players not showing respect and stuff, I think that he has a point there. And the club's definitely a mess, and the Glazers, as we know, were pretty toxic. And I think everything else, yeah, I agreed with. But
yeah.
the stuff he said about the manager, I just thought, you picked the wrong person to pick on.
Yeah,
You took it too.
es-
You just went. Well, he went
especially
too
the
far.
way, especially the way Eric handled it all. I thought he handled it quite well. The fact
Exactly.
that he didn't shut him out, he punished him, set out the rules, but also left the door open for him to come back. So then it was like a big, it was like a kick to the teeth.
Yeah, totally, totally. It was just, I guess, yeah, like you said, it was almost, Ronaldo not able to kind of accept his position,
Mm,
and I think the position that Ten Hag gave him was not unfair for a man of his age. To say you're not gonna play every
yeah,
game, but I'm gonna need you whenever you're ready, and like you said, to kind of throw it back at him and say, if I don't get to play when I want to play, then I'm not gonna play when you ask me to play, and that's just not the way to do things.
yeah,
But I think it's going to be beneficial to the team going forward that the distraction of Ronaldo is no longer there. So I'm very positive now about United going forward. I think Ten Hag has made huge strides. His signings have hit the ground running, and we've made huge progress since the first 2 games of the season. And really looking forward to the second half of the season now. And looking forward to Christmas fixtures, the 2-legged tie against Barcelona, and And I'm reasonably confident that we could maybe even pick up a cup this season and finish in the top four. But I think signing someone like Cody Gakpo is going to be crucial to that. I think as well in January. So is that how you feel, Chris?
That's the thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Rush. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the thing, isn't it, Carl? That's the only thing that can really bring us back down to earth. It's is the board and their incompetence and what we do or don't do in the market.
Absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it feels like getting rid of Ronaldo for right or for wrong. The dressing room should be a wee bit more harmonious now. Again, for right or for wrong, maybe some guys who've been slacking off will be getting called out on it, but at the very least, there'll be a bit more harmony about the place. And if we can manage to get good replacement and the likes of Gakpo, then hopefully, actually things will start to improve.
Yeah, and another bit of news just came out quite recently is the fact that the Glazers have virtually put the club up for sale, and that's probably as good as winning the Champions League final. And then everyone's being linked to buying the club. Dubai, Apple, Zara, all these, even Facebook. It's just absurd now. It's become like a transfer window at United with all these owners being linked to potentially buying the club. So, who would you guys most like to see United? Who would you most like to see by United? Of course, Jim Radcliffe will put his hat in the ring as well. Is he the person that you would like to see by the club? So I'll come to you first, then, Chris.
I think so, Kyle. I mean, I think United. I always sort of prided United over the years on being. I know it sounds like a soppy thing to say, more than a football club in a sense. And I like the fact that we were always able to balance the corporate side of things with, being a kind of a family feeling club that still, the owners cared a little bit about the fans, cared about the football, and wanted to make money as well. And I feel like if we get, a corporation like Apple or, somebody like, one of the oil rich countries like they have from some of the other clubs like Man City, that they probably won't have that level of care for the club. So for me personally, I would love to see a billionaire like Jim Radcliffe, who actually is a fan, who cares about the club, who cares about Man United and the legacy and the history and stuff, but also has the financial might to own the club and maintain it in a business, corporate sense. So that for me is the ideal. It might not pan out that way, and I can accept if it doesn't. But yeah, I guess the sentimental side of me would say I would love nothing more than a billionaire kind of fan like Radcliffe to be the owner. Yeah.
Would you echo those sentiments, then, Brush?
Yeah, very similar. For me, it's not about the money as such, because obviously whoever takes us over is going to be a billionaire. It's all about people who have the best interests of the club at heart. As long as we can sort that out, that's all I care about. With regard to some of the links, I just think we're stepping, closer and closer to absolute soullessness. When people talk about the likes of Apple and wanting all the billionaire, oil rich people to come in. Yeah. And listen, over the past decade, we've spent $1 billion. It's been our own money, mind you. It's not been the owners that put it in, but we've spent $1 billion, so we're able to compete. It's just about having the right infrastructure and making sure that money's invested properly, with a clear direction. So as long as people have the best interest of the club at heart, I don't care who comes in, to be honest.
Yeah, the issue that the fans have had is that $1 billion has also been taken out of the club in that time.
Well, yeah, no other club has had money taken out as much as United have, but that again comes down to the Glazers.
Yeah, that's totally unacceptable. We want an owner who cares about the club, who gets the fans, and doesn't have to be a sugar daddy. Just someone who we just want the revenue to be used on buying new players each summer window, and not going out of the club and paying debt, interest, and dividends. I mean, we're not asking for much, are we? It doesn't happen pretty much anywhere else. I think with the only this season or last season, I think according to the official statistics, we were the only club out of the 20 Premier League clubs that were currently paying shareholders dividends. I think when West Brom were there was 2 clubs, but they're in the Championship now. So the only club in the Premier League paying dividends to the shareholders, absolutely unacceptable.
Completely, and yeah, I mean that has to change, and hopefully, whoever does own the club, it's not going to be another leverage buyout. It's not going to be one of those situations. It's going to be somebody who can afford to put money into the club and not use it as their kind of personal ATM. So yeah, that that's a
You
minimum
can't
for
even
me.
do that
That's a
anymore,
minimum.
Chris. You can't
Yeah,
even
I was
do
gonna
those leverage buyouts anymore. I
I
thought
was
it was
gonna
really
say
interesting
good.
in the Chelsea deal because they had an
Yeah,
anti-Glazer clause.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Just to highlight the ridiculous situation we're in. Like, can
No,
you
I know
imagine that?
I know it really is. It's unbelievable that it happened.
Yeah,
Honestly, it really is. You're totally right. You're totally right, Brush. It's incredible, and thank God. Yeah,
yeah. And I'll
they've
tell you
dropped
what,
it with
at
the
the
Chelsea
time,
deal.
I'm probably a bit too young to really understand it because obviously there were fans who were complaining from day one, who then
Yeah,
split off and made United. What was it? FC
FC United of
United.
Manchester.
United.
Yeah, FC
That's
United of
it. FC
Manchester.
United of
Yeah,
Manchester.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because when that happened in '05, I wasn't clued up on how it all worked. So I was like, oh, this is a bit of an overreaction. But thinking back,
yeah,
they had the right idea.
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, they
Yeah,
really did.
there were militant fans who were protesting as soon as the Glazers even bought a stake in the club. They
Mm,
had a minority stake before they took it over when
yeah,
JP Wagner McManus were there as the majority shareholders. And as soon as they bought that stake, fans were already protesting. And then when they were trying to buy out the club, which is highly leveraged, fans were going to Whitehall in London to try and
mm,
get the government involved to help block the takeover. No, and they were spot on, because they knew what was coming, and maybe some of us
Absolutely.
younger fans didn't really know the extent of it at the time, but
No.
they knew how bad it was going to be, and it was absolutely disgraceful that it was even allowed to take place.
yeah. I think we really started noticing in the last couple of years of Fergie, didn't we? When he was on the front line taking a lot of the
Yeah,
blame, he deflected a lot of the blame,
absolutely.
especially when he's coming out with all that nonsense about, oh, there's no value in the market. When we
That's
got a
right.
world record free for Ronaldo and replaced him with Valencia from Wigan.
I know you're right. I remember
Yeah,
that, and I
Yeah,
remember the time. I remember being blind at the time and kind of
yeah,
thinking, because we got our recruitment so well over the years. I
yeah,
remember thinking to myself, "Oh, Fergie must know better. He knows better. I'm sure he
yeah,
sees something that we don't see."
yeah,
And then
yeah.
it was a
Because
pattern.
listen,
Ashley Young and Phil Jones. He knows better. He knows better than us. And no.
yeah, because with that fee in 2009, we could have done so much with it, and we didn't.
No, no,
it
no.
went straight
Uh,
into paying off the debt, basically, and paying off the interest on the
Yeah,
loans.
we saw the likes of an over the hill Michael Owen turn up, Overton,
yeah.
Bebe. Ah, it's terrible.
Bebe,
you're
Bebe
just
has to be the
you're just
worst of that.
you're just rhyming off all the legends now, Brush. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but yeah. So, how great would it be to have responsible owners and a world class coach at the same time?
Yeah,
What does that feel like?
No. Us fans of another club haven't felt it for a long, long time.
yeah. Listen, that's what's on my Christmas list. I'd like to see Van der Sar
Yeah.
turn up as well.
Oh, that really
Yeah,
would be the
yeah.
icing on the
Yeah,
cake. That would
yeah.
be the icing on the
So
cake.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that would be brilliant because obviously he, for one, understands and knows the club inside out, as well as being very qualified for the position.
Absolutely.
It's the
Yeah.
ideal situation.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. Van der Sar would just be
Well,
the icing on the cake completely.
a former Liverpool director of football, Michael Edwards, has been linked to the club just as much as Van der Sar. What would you make of that? He's clearly he's a very competent guy,
He would
and he's
obviously have to repent for his sins, but yeah, his experience would be very welcome.
yeah. I suppose a director changing clubs isn't as controversial as a player or a manager.
Yeah, no, because
Um,
yeah, joking aside, like yeah, if we forget where he came from, like the job he's done there is actually magnificent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played an integral role in Klopp's success at the club. His recruitment
Yeah,
is spot on. Even his
yeah.
ability
Yep.
to get large fees when selling average players has been remarkable. Something we've really struggled with.
And for us, Kyle, I mean, getting any fee is something.
I know exactly. Yeah. We just always seem to be on the wrong end of every
Yeah,
transfer
even this
in
summer,
or
I
out.
was really pissed off at the Garner deal to Everton.
I know.
Yeah,
We
Yeah, I think
in
most
this
people
day and
were.
age we talk about English tax. Apparently that doesn't apply to United when we're selling players.
Yeah, I know. It is.
Yeah,
It is honestly ridiculous. We never just seem
yeah,
to get. I feel. Yeah, we talked about this a lot, Kylie. I feel like Woodward has really done us a disservice over the years, constantly
mm,
talking about how much money we have. And it's just like people who buy players from us don't want to pay us. So you've got lots of money. And then when you go to buy a player, you can afford to pay over the odds. You got lots of money.
Exactly. And even this summer, Chris,
you
remember the footage leaked of Arnold talking to the fans, and he
Yeah.
was saying, "Oh yeah, we've got the money."
I know. And
It's
you're like,
terrible.
I know.
So yeah, so then you've already got one hand tied behind your back when you're going in for negotiations.
I know. Do you know what? All I can say is this, Brush. If I ever get a chance, if I get a chance to play poker with somebody with lots of money, I hope it's Ed Woodward or Richard Arnold, because
Yeah,
they'll just tell you straight up what they
yeah,
have.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They just reveal
Tell
their
you what they're
hand
sat on.
before you even start.
Listen,
Just tell you
when
what they
that
got.
footage leaked, I was just face palming. I was like, why?
I know. It's just ridiculous, honestly.
Is it any wonder they paid? Was it 85 million for Anthony and 60 million for Casemiro? After that,
Yeah. Even the Martinez one, had they acted sooner, they could have got him for a lot cheaper. Obviously, they waited around. Arsenal were then in the bidding, which pushed the price up. And also, I think they wanted they wanted it to get Pau Torres first. I heard that Eric really had to fight to get his way with Martinez.
It just beggars belief.
Yeah. And a signing he's turned out to be. He's probably, I've never taken to a player so quickly after signing. He's probably my favourite.
Yeah, and I can't believe he's not first pick for Argentina in the World Cup.
Well, do you know what? They got exactly what they deserved.
Exactly, you're right. Exactly, yeah.
In that first game, when I saw that they lost, I checked the team sheet. I was like, no wonder why. You left Leacher on the bench. That's what you get.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Yep. Set themselves up to fail.
Yeah. And Otamendi. Oh, he's terrible.
No, what was he doing starting? I know, unbelievable.
He's been the only mainstay in that defence. Otamendi. What is that all about?
What is it all about, right?
So what's your prediction so far, guys, based on what you've seen of the World Cup? Who do you think is going to win?
My early favourite were Brazil, and I do think they have the best team just in terms of squad depth and diversity. They've got an answer for everything. They've got loads of different types of players and that. But this World Cup is really open, isn't it? I don't know. There's been a few shots. None of the big sides have really impressed me that much, if I'm being honest. I'm hoping they come to life in the knockout round.
Yeah, when I've seen the likes of Germany and Belgium go out, Uruguay's going out, whereas South Korea and Japan and Senegal
what a story! What a story for some of those guys, and that's what the World Cup's all about.
Absolutely, I really like Japan. Actually, I really like Japan. I seen them play the other night against Spain. I thought they were even just how organised they were, and even when it was like they were 2-1 up with like 20 minutes to go or something. They just kept it calm. They didn't get the ball for large periods. They didn't panic. They didn't kind of switch off. I really like this. I like to see Japan do well, actually. But I agree. I think Brazil probably. I think they were favourites before it started, and I thought some of the teams I thought Belgium would have done better, and I thought Germany would have done better. So I think Brazil just seemed like even stronger favourites for me at this point.
Yeah. How do you feel about England then, Brush? Do you think they have a chance? I mean,
I definitely think they've got the ability to get past Senegal. Beyond that, I don't know.
Because they'll play France probably after that. That's a difficult one.
So that's going to be difficult. So and our coach isn't best equipped to deal with much. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, is that waistcoat Ollie you're talking about?
Listen, you don't understand how traumatic it was watching that Euro final last year, Kyle. Having seen us play the Europa League final with Villarreal, it was a carbon copy.
No. That's not good. That's definitely not good.
Yeah, just the refusal to make subs, just the late changes, just playing for penalties. Terrible.
Well, what's your take on Southgate overall? Brush, do you like Southgate? Do you think he's doing a good job?
See, it's a really weird one, Chris, because obviously on paper he's probably the best manager England have ever had. Because we've had brilliant squads in the past, but none of them have done what he's done. Like getting to a final and a semi-final is great on paper, but when you look a bit deeper into how we got there, So it's the style of play isn't really there. The flair players are kind of wasted on him. The likes of Grealish and Foden, you're not going to see the best of them under him. So that's a worry. But he's very pragmatic, isn't he? So it's one of those. The football isn't the best to watch, but at the same time, if he's getting the results, you can't really argue, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, he gets a lot of criticism because he's only got to a semi and a final. If and because the style of football isn't great, but if England get over the line, he'll be a legend forever on the day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even with the semis and the final, like, nobody else has gotten that far even. So that's an achievement in itself.
I totally agree. Sorry, Kai.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I watched the. I don't know if any guys watched the Wayne Rooney documentary, I think it was on Netflix maybe a few months ago, and it reminded me of how good the teams were back in. I can't remember if it was under Sven or under Fabio Capello. When you had Beckham and Scholes and the Nevilles and Rooney and
the
Lampard
Lampards, the
Gerrard.
Gerrards. Yeah.
And I look and go, how did they not win an international tournament? I
But
honestly can't. I
you
can't
know what it
believe
is
it. I
though,
can't
Chris. You
believe
know
it.
what it is though, Chris. Yeah, people say that, but then you look at the other teams who did win, and they also had just incredible squads.
That's a very fair point. That is a very fair point.
Yeah.
Still,
Because I always look at because I always look at that England squad, and maybe the Netherlands, because the Netherlands had a lot of quality players, and they never won anything major either.
Very true.
And they probably deserve something with the players they had.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, right now they've had some incredible teams too over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. The likes of Van Nistelrooy, Cliver, Bergkamp, Seedorf. They did really.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the De Boer brothers. They had a lot of talent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, you make a good point.
The Portugal sides that put England out of those tournaments in the noughties had some fantastic players. Also, had
Figo, Rui Costa.
Rui Costa, what a player!
Ronaldo in his young days.
Yeah. It was unfortunate for them that Ronaldo fell the generation after. Imagine he had the likes of Figo and Rui Costa to play with.
Absolutely, I know. Imagine prime Ronaldo in that team.
Yeah.
That would have been insane.
And now he's come towards the end of his career. They're building another great team, Portugal. But it's I don't think he fit. I think they should drop him and play Rafael Leo. I think they're better, the more dynamic side.
Funny enough, I looked at their squad card, and when I was just messing around putting an 11 together, I didn't have Ronnie in it, to be honest. I would have used him as like an impact sub, but I think the coach obviously doesn't feel he can drop him because of who he is. And I think that might be why they play two up top as well. It's just to help Ronaldo out.
You're probably right.
Yeah, I felt even before he came back to United in the Euros in 2021, I said he's holding that team back. He's too old to be the main man now, and everything has to go through him. They would be a brilliant team without him. And even I know it was only a friendly, but they played Nigeria just before the tournament, and he didn't play a role in that game, and they won.
And they won 4-0.
They were brilliant on the night,
and much more fluid, isn't it? Yeah, just they should build around João Felix and Leao and these other guys.
I know it almost becomes he almost like makes things slightly artificial, because it's nearly like, if no matter what way the game flows, he's kind of going, but I have to be the one that scores. So you have to give me the ball.
I mean, we saw that the other night, didn't we? We saw that the other night, didn't we, Chris? I think it's been coined the hair of God.
That's so silly. But that's true. You're like, what is he talking about? Oh my goodness! It's really like, if I'm within a meter of the ball, it should be my goal. You're like, that's not how it goes. Oh my word! Oh yeah, you're totally right. It is, but so silly, and you just see it. It's like players are in good possessions, and somebody's like, who that play it left, they play it right. Ronaldo's left. I gotta give to Ronaldo. He has to, and it ends up becoming, it's not flowing the way it should. You're not kind of, picking the spaces you naturally want to pick.
You're not utilizing the best decisions. You're not. Yeah,
exactly, because they're conscious of Ronaldo. Ronaldo wants the ball, and it's just bad. It's just bad.
I mean, we saw it in the game against Ammonia. It was almost like a testimonial for Ronaldo, the way we were trying to tee him up.
It's just silly.
Yeah, and he missed from like a yard out in that game. What player would try and take a goal off his teammate? When they've won the game, let's move on to the next match. And he's like, "No, it's my goal. It's my goal." It wasn't if it was an own goal and he wanted it. It's his own. Like Bruno Fernandes, who's been a club teammate for the last year and a half. He plays with them at Portugal as well, and he's trying to take the goal off him. There's no other player in world football who would get on like that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that he's left the club now.
Same, absolutely, Kyle.
It's just not on. He's desperate to have every goal possible so he can beat all the records. That's just the way he is. And that people say that's what makes him the player he is, but it also you do have to have a certain amount of you have to be a team player as well. You just can't be all about him. It's not tennis, it's not golf, it's a team sport,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? It's because he's visibly unhappy as well. Like there's times when his teammates score and he won't join in the celebrations.
No, and that's so bad. That is really bad. And that's the thing is, like you say, it's a team game, and you literally, no matter how good you are, cannot win the game on your own. Which means that in order for him to be the player he is, players around him have had to help him out, and it's almost like he kind of wants to dismiss that as if it's what I did, it's my contribution is far more important than anybody else's, and that just rubs people up the wrong way. And I think that just he would do well to remember that the success he's had, a big part of that is because he's been part of great teams in his career. Man United, made him a great player, and Ferguson believed in him, and all the players worked with him, and the same at Madrid. And he would do well to remember that he didn't do it on his own, but I think sometimes he kind of thinks that he did.
Let's hear a comment here.
I think that might be.
I told you guys I'll be inviting strippers to this show.
I thought that was your girlfriend, Ted. Yeah. I think it's definitely.
Ronaldo's just not. He's just. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I knew that. I know. I was just joking around. You see him on the other night when he came up on the big screen that the goal was Bruno Fernandes's goal. He's so disappointed and all. Like his team had just scored and he's disappointed that the goal was taken off him. You're like, oh, come on. But he's
maybe he thought that if he just celebrated with conviction, people would just assume it was his goal.
yeah. If he shouted loud enough and he said it enough times, the people would just believe him. Yeah. I think you're not far wrong there, Brush.
Because honestly, it was only on the replay that I thought it wasn't his goal. Because initially, I thought it did come off his head, the way he was celebrating.
Yeah.
And the Adidas technology on the ball proved that he didn't touch it. But he still got the Portuguese Federation to appeal to FIFA that the goal was his. Like he would know if he touched it or not.
You say, I know, but like you say, Kyle, the worst thing about that is, like you said, if it was an own goal or something, I would understand. But he actively going to those lengths to take it off his own teammate it's pretty low.
Yeah, I think at this point in his career, he just it's just the records, isn't it? He's just chasing everything he can.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. But at the detriment of those around him, like I say, he would take a goal off his own teammate, and even his own club teammate, just to serve himself. It's a bit low.
Just there today, how good was it seeing Suarez knocked out of the World Cup and very, very upset about it after what he did to Ghana in 2010, punching the ball off the line, then celebrating the penalty being missed. I wasn't sad to see Uruguay being knocked out and South Korea going through.
I was still at work, so I'll have to catch the highlights of all of today's games. I did check the results though, and I saw that South Korea won it in the 90 plus minutes.
Yeah, I think it was in out of time. Yeah, it was a great run by Son Heung-min, and he placed it for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the highlights of that back because they look quite good against Ghana as well. The way they came back I thought was quite impressive.
Yeah, and South Korean fans were crying tears of joy, on the stands. It really meant a lot to them. Yeah. So it's great to see so many, nations who are not expected to get to the last 16 and making it there. And
absolutely, teams like Morocco topping the group. Who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
even Australia. I didn't think Australia would get past Denmark. That was and it was a great taking goal as well. That one.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, Bruce, that's what, or maybe you said it, that's what the World Cup's about, isn't it? You want to see teams that don't always, have a chance doing really well. Absolutely, brilliant to see.
Yeah, it's been really good so far. Yeah, plenty of goals, plenty of upsets. Yeah, and I suppose a mid-season World Cup in the desert, which nobody wanted, it was going to lead to lots of shocks and and strange results, almost like the kind of the lockdown football a couple of years ago as well with no fans. So I'm not too surprised that we've seen lots of upsets and drama in this World Cup. Well, it would be fantastic if some of the lesser nations, lesser football nations, got to even the last four or something like that. That would be amazing. Remember when South Korea got to the semi-finals of their own World Cup in 2002?
Absolutely, yeah. He
You
played
know,
really well. Deserved to be there, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'd be more than happy to see. I'd love to see one of the, as you call, not so well known football nations, even win it. It's always
Yeah,
nice to see.
yeah, it'd
It's
be
always nice to
amazing.
see an upset. Absolutely, I'd love to
it
see
would,
Japan or
yeah.
South Korea
But
or a team like that or Morocco even would go on and win. I think
I mean, I still
be
think back
brilliant.
to Euro 2004 and think, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah,
Um,
no, yes,
Greece. Yeah,
Greece.
I remember.
with
Yeah,
Greece,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
remember that too. It was amazing. You're like, fair play. They won a fair and square. Good on them. Absolutely brilliant. Yep,
And even
good to
when
see.
when Portugal won Euro 2016, that was not a good Portugal team on paper.
no,
France were hot favorites, and I still what did Ed Air, is that what you call the guy who scored the winning goal in that? I don't think he's made it into the Portugal squad since.
mm,
But yeah, that was a major upset too. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't mind somebody unusual making it to the final and winning the tournament, but I can't see it. Maybe someone will make it, some surprise team will make it to the last four, but I still think Brazil or Argentina will win the World Cup. But we'll wait and see how it pans out. So it was fantastic to have you on the show together for a change. That's the first time that's happened. So if everyone please leave us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts down below. And if you're listening, listen to it retrospectively. Let's see how well you can do in the quiz. So guys, I'll see you again then next week.
yeah,
Yep.
take
Take
care.
care, Kat. Yep. Take care, Brush.